I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's early afternoon for you, and it's
I know, you know what? It's not too bad. Yesterday I did a live show started at 7 a.m. my
oh my
time.
God.
I was so worried. I didn't want to go to bed because I don't remember the last time I woke up that early. But it's nice to virtually see you, I guess,
I
right?
know, yeah. It's like these Instagram lives. It's nice because it's like I'm sitting in front of you, except you're of course not physically in front of me. But
Right.
it's nice to have that eye contact, especially when you're under quarantine and stay at
You
home
know what?
orders.
At first, I saw like people doing these live videos and these live like conference calls with each other. And I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, but now like I'm on it and I'm watching other people do it, and it's pretty much like we're having a cigar together, I guess. So
Yeah, exactly. And I
it,
think
it
it's
took a little getting used to, I think, but I'm like starting to get the hang of it. So
Yeah, because even I wasn't big into the Instagram lives before all this, and I was like, I don't know if that's like relevant to me. But now it
hmm.
is. It's nice, like I said, to connect with people and to
Right.
let other people, like the people joining in today, like interact and ask questions like right on
Hmm.
the spot. So I think it's cool, and thank you
But
so much.
especially like a time like right now, what else are we gonna do? You know, it's like our only arm to it's our like our only extension to civilization, basically.
Right.
So
So first question, I mean, we already had somebody ask a question. They want to know what are you drinking and what are you smoking?
so I'm usually always smoking this. If any of you guys follow me on Instagram, it's a Casa Cuba Doble Seis made by Arturo Fuente, and I am drinking just tea because I have a cough that won't go away right now, so I'm trying to like nurse myself back to health.
Yeah.
So, especially being Asian and coughing, like it's not a good time.
I wasn't
People
gonna
give
say
me
anything,
funny
but
looks. You know
yeah.
what? At the grocery store, I have like this dry cough that won't go away.
Oh
So,
God.
I'm like trying to cure myself right now.
So how's everything been for you during this quarantine situation, coronavirus?
You know what? It sucks because life is not normal, but I can't complain because we are very fortunate compared to a lot of other people. We're still allowed to stay open. The city of Escondido came by and said, you know what, look, just as long as you guys don't have a lot of people in here, you guys can remain open as a retail shop. So we're, even though our, walk-in traffic has died down tremendously, just the ability of being open is we're still really thankful for that. It's better than shutting our doors completely.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to focus more on online stuff, and just trying to any option that we have right now to make some sort of revenue. So, and you know what, we're really, really blessed too because our customers are amazing. They're still supporting us and they're picking up their cigars as normal. So we're in a fortunate spot. It could be a lot worse.
Well, that's good. So you're able to do curbside and people are able to still come into your store?
Yeah, so we kind of give them three options. They can call in their order and we bring them curbside,
Hmm.
or they can or they can order their items online and we ship it. Or our retail store is still open, so they're able to walk in and purchase their cigars.
Oh,
Our
you
lounge isn't open, so the only thing
right.
is we don't allow people to stay and smoke, but they're allowed to come in and pick up their cigars and go.
Oh. And I know the lounge is a big part of your store, so what's it
Hmm.
like? I bet it's a little bit quiet to
Oh my gosh, it's
compared.
just me and like my dogs here, and the whole parking lot is empty. Um, I'm already on social media enough as it is, but I feel like that's all I'm doing now is on Facebook and Instagram. So trying to find ways to keep myself sane. I think
Hmm.
like everyone's starting to cook more. I don't think I've made more breakfasts in the past month than I have in my entire year. So trying to find things to keep us occupied, I guess.
I can definitely sympathize. I've been the same
Hmm.
way. It's when your commute is usually mine is usually about 40 minutes, and now it's like
Hmm.
2 minutes. It's like from the bed to the to
Yeah.
the living room. Oh well,
I do
I
have
got
to remember to put on jeans every now and then because I've been wearing like sweatpants every single day, and you don't notice like how much you eat when you're wearing sweatpants. So I have to put the jeans on every now and then.
I think we're all like that. I know Michael Herklotz, when I spoke to him a couple weeks
Uh-huh.
ago, said he put on a suit for just to make sure he was still
Oh
in
yeah.
proportion just to make sure he can
In
still
like
fit in there.
2 months, none of the clothes is gonna fit the same.
I
So.
know it's crazy,
Mhm.
So well, what I've been wanting to do with Deep Cuts is just kind of touch base with people that I've done stories on in the past, people I
Mhm.
know, friends in the industry, and like bring basically your story to life in like a
Okay.
more kind of engaging kind of way. Because magazines and writing is all cool and stuff, but not everybody has time usually to read a full story. Um,
Yeah.
and now we all have lots of time to
We have all the
consume
time in the
information,
world.
but they want to see. But it's nice when we can add, like I said, actual a face to
Mhm.
it, and it's not just a picture here and a bunch of words that you have to kind of go through. So, what I wanted to do is just get your story, and then kind of dive into Lord Puffer and like your experiences as a tobacconist, because to me, I sat in on your session at IPCPR last year when
Oh,
you
okay.
when
Thank
when
you.
and heard you speak and saw you, like, how very together you were, and you were basically, to me you were a big authority figure when
Oh
in
my
that
gosh, I
session.
was so nervous. I'm not even joking you. Like 12 hours before, 10 hours before, 6 hours before, I was at Casa Fuente having mojitos. Like the bartender there was giving me pep talks. I mean, I've never spoken in a such a large group like that before, but especially with, Scott Regina on the stage and
Hmm.
Scott Pierce from IPCPR. Like I feel like I don't deserve to be next to some of those leading figures in the cigar world. So it was really interesting. But
Well, to me, I mean, in a very short amount of time, I mean, you've become like a leading tobacconist, and I think it's because you can tell you're very forward thinking. Like when I
thank
got into the
you.
industry back in 2010, it was,
Hmm.
just on the media side. I mean, the industry was people didn't do Facebook. They didn't even have Facebook pages for
Right.
their businesses back then. They didn't get it. They were like, Facebook is just, something for college kids, which it kind of was
Yeah.
back then. And like Instagram came along, and all the other different social media platforms,
Hmm.
and they never really got it, and they never really understood it. But to me, like when I watch you and how you interact with your customers and the industry at large, you just embrace all that stuff. And even like you said, even if you didn't understand stuff like Instagram live videos and stuff like that, you don't like shy away from it. You just
I
like
think
get
that's
in
the
there and
most
you learn.
important thing. Like you have to adapt because the world is not going to stop for you, right? The world is going to constantly revolve and evolve. And if you don't evolve with it, then you're just going to get left behind because the world's still going to continue. People are still going to, grow. So I could see especially the cigar industry because it's such an older industry, with, kind of an older clientele. It's hard for them to adapt. So luckily we have that to our advantage. But I know, like, fast forward 20 years from now, there's going to be new types of social media. And I'm going to be like, I remember back in the day when I was using Facebook and Instagram. So,
Yeah, so I guess let's start at the beginning, sort of like how
mhm.
did you get into like cigar retail?
So I started working with premium cigars for, I want to say like 10 years now. I had just graduated from high school, so I was 18 years old. Actually, no, I'm 29, so it was 11 years ago. And I was going to school full time at University of San Diego, and I was working full time with the San Diego Padres. And across the street from where I lived, there was a cigar shop, which is still there today, called Cuban Cigar Factory. And I used to go there every single day and hang out and do my schoolwork. And I thought, like, I just graduated from high school. I'm 18 years old. I'm hanging out at a cigar shop in the middle of San Diego downtown. Like, I thought I was so cool. So I became like furniture there. I was there every single day. And the family that owned the store, they were in the process of opening up another store, and they were looking for some help to do some bookkeeping, accounting work. And me being Asian, I'm awesome at math. So, of course, I volunteered. And fast forward 10, 11 years later today, I still work with the same family, and they have multiple stores throughout San Diego. I just opened up my first brick and mortar store, as many of you guys know, called Lord Puffer in San Diego, California. And we're getting ready to open a second store. But
Wow.
along the way, I've worked at, a variety of different retail stores that this family has owned. We used to grow tobacco in the Bahamas. I moved there for a couple of years to farm tobacco. And we got into manufacturing tobacco as well in the US. So we've kind of done a little bit of everything, but I think our real passion is really the brick and mortar and retail side of it, and especially the interaction with the different customers. So.
And how is San Diego in terms of like laws like smoking and stuff like that? Because I've been there once and I was there for like maybe a couple of days, and I think I did stop in at the Cuban
Mhm.
Cigar Factory just to kind of look around, or
Yeah,
there's some
so
cigar store there that I know I stopped in at just because I was doing stories, and that was the
mhm.
place people say, oh, go there, and I
Probably
checked it out.
there's a few different cigar shops in San Diego. The Cuban Cigar Factory is downtown in the gas lamps. It's definitely like the touristy spot. But smoking in San Diego is, I don't know. It's bad, but it's not that bad because I know there's states like Utah that has super high taxation, Hawaii that has really high taxation. So we really don't have it as bad as some states do, but it's definitely not as relaxed as Florida, Arizona, Virginia, Pennsylvania. They're definitely cracking the whip here. One of the things that we suffer from most are, especially San Diego being so coastal, are beach communities becoming tobacco free. So you can't even smoke cigars in your own backyard if you own the property because it's in a beach town. So there's definitely hurdles, but luckily we're in the outskirts of San Diego, so it's a little bit not as regulated, I guess. Knock on wood. But I really believe in the motto that cigar lovers are cigar lovers, and it doesn't matter how far you are from town, they will come and find you. So the rules are pretty strict here. I think taxation is the hardest thing, trying to compete with, online prices. Um, there's cigars that, as a retailer, it costs, how do I say this? The price that we pay for certain cigars is more expensive than someone going to an online website buying it at retail
Okay.
price. So that's one of the biggest struggles is, dealing with the high taxation and still trying to get customers who are willing to pay our prices. But we're fortunate. We have great customers that have, followed us for a while. So we get by.
And just going off what you just talked about, because I know a little bit, like before coronavirus, when we couldn't even fathom this would be our reality.
Hmm.
Earlier in the year, there's this big debate in between, the brick and mortar tobacconists and then your online
Right.
tobacconists. I mean, you seem to be like right in the middle of all this. So, I mean, is there a big issue between these two retailers, or are you all just retailers, or is there really some kind of underlying issue that the industry
It's
at large kind of misses?
it's hard. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because people here in California, they're so used to our California prices that
Mm-hmm.
they will come in and support brick and mortar stores. But it's funny because when we get customers from out of state and they come in and they see our California prices, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is so expensive." But this is just something that like I'm used to because I've lived this for 10, 11 years of my life.
Right.
But I think as a retailer from a different state coming in, it's definitely a hurdle. Like it costs us more to buy half the cigars in our humidor than it is for you to go online and purchase it at retail. So like how am I as a retailer supposed to buy these products more expensive than what you would buy it for and then sell it to you with a markup? So it's just a struggle, but it is what it is, and it's the cost of operating a cigar store in California.
Yeah, it's
And
like one of those things you don't really have control over.
yeah, you just have to really, make the best of it. And unfortunately, we don't have a liquor license here. So some of my partners' families, other stores, they have liquor licenses. So that kind of, you have a leverage there. For us, all we do is sell tobacco. So we have to sell a lot of freaking tobacco, especially since we're working with less margins. But, knock on wood, we've had great support. We've been here for 2 years. So
I mean, I know you have lot of love in the industry. I mean, the Perdomos, you know, I see Janine here watching us today, you know, the Perdomos, the Fuentes. I mean, you, like I said, it's remarkable what you've been able to do really in a short amount of time, and just connecting with the manufacturers and your customers.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So when it came time to create Lord Puffer, because I mean, I look at everything a little bit differently, because I come from a graphic design background, and nowadays I have to worry about graphic design, marketing, branding, all that kind of stuff, with working with tobacco business and TPE and all this other stuff.
And cigars, cigar and leisure too, or no?
Yeah, cigars and leisure.
Okay, I was like, did they get acquired by you guys? Because all of a sudden I saw them posting. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a different magazine. I didn't want to say anything and sound like an idiot, but okay.
No,
all right.
It's funny because, like, just a side note with cigars and leisure, it's like me and one other person, Ben Stimson, created it years ago. And we created it with the cigar lounges in mind, because Ben saw that there's a need for some type of magazine that kind of dealt with a little bit of travel, but also gave the cigar lounges kind of a little bit more of a platform than your usual trade publication, and putting in front and center, connecting them with the consumers and all that kind of stuff. So we created that magazine and kind of built it up. And then we got presented with an opportunity to move over to TMG to do tobacco business and TPE. And it was like, yeah, and you know, Ben got the offer, and he wanted to bring me on, but the only caveat is we had to leave cigars and leisure behind. So we left it behind, and then all of a sudden we came back into the picture a couple of months ago, when it was, you know, a chance to acquire it. And so,
that makes sense, because I was like,
I know,
I saw the post from Cigars and Leisure. I'm like, wait a minute, that's a different magazine. Okay, it all makes sense now. Perfect. Yeah. Awesome.
So when it came for you to create this Lord Puffer brand, because I noticed, like, your logo, you have like a nice little figurine, like figure or brand or a mascot, if you want to call it, in the logo. Not a lot of cigar shops have that kind of thing, but it's like a really fun, like, old school vibe. Like, what kind of thoughts went into when you were creating your brand? Because I don't know if a lot of retailers even think about that.
So, kind of two things. One, in the cigar world, I feel like there's a lot of cigar store, as far as brick and mortar goes, right? There's a lot of brick and mortar stores that use pretty generic names, and it's really hard, and especially you being more of like a social media guy, you know about search engine optimization. Using these generic terms and these generic names, it's really hard to get a listing on Google, or whenever people search you, there's a lot of confusion for other smoke shops, other lounges, and whatnot. So we definitely wanted to create a name that was different, and it wasn't a generic name, just because it would help with the branding side of it. But how the name came to be, it's actually a funny story. Not a lot of people know it. Is we have a corporate lawyer that we've been using for, I mean, they've been using it, it's like their family lawyer for 10, 11 years. And he actually has a vineyard called Lord Puffer in San Diego. And he is a huge, huge, huge cigar smoker. So the ongoing joke was, if we ever opened up a cigar lounge again, we were going to steal his name from him and turn it into a cigar lounge. So when the opportunity came to open this store here, we were, you know, trying to come up with names, and we thought, oh, Marty, you know, we always had this joke that we were going to name our cigar lounge after his winery. So it kind of just all fell into place, and, you know, the name really stuck, and the name really caught. And the mascot guy, he's a cute little, you know, vintage Monopoly looking man. So I thought it would be, I wanted to, you know, create an identity with the store, something that people would be proud of when they came here. They would buy, you know, memorabilia and then wear it throughout their travels. So that's I guess, in the long scheme of things, that's kind of how it came to be. It just really fell into place. It wasn't something that we had planned. It just fell into place, I guess.
Well, like I said, I think it's cool because, like you said, there are so many stores that, at least in the tobacco category, they don't think about that. And so, like you said, when you're looking at everything, the logo is just their name, you know, and it's nothing like distinguishable about it. So you look at yours, you automatically smile because you're like, oh, like this is like so cool
It's
and
like the goofy
retro.
looking character,
Right.
you know? And it's so odd. Like, I think weird works because it's so out there and different. You know, people might make fun of it because it's not your traditional cigar logo or your traditional cigar style, but it's quirky and weird enough for people to remember it. So I
Right.
guess at the end of the day, that's really all we want.
But at the same time, it's like when you get into the industry and you get to know everybody, it's funny because I think you realize that not every things aren't as serious as you might think. It's not the stereotypical everybody's in a business suit, you know,
Right.
in a quiet room like with a smoking jacket. Well, you know, it's really a industry full of different characters, different personalities.
Oh,
A
it's
lot
so
of people
fun.
who want to have fun, who
Uh-huh.
want to laugh with each other. So to me, your branding kind of fits with the heart of the industry, the spirit
Oh,
of the
thank
industry.
you.
So I always like wondered when I looked at it because I was looking through stuff today, kind of getting myself in the mindset for this interview, and
Hmm.
I was like, oh, I was like, I think I'm going to ask about that because, like I said, it's not something that you see a lot in the tobacco world. So it was another thing that I said. I figured that you kind of went into a completely different mindset than a lot of people to kind of
Yeah,
give
I
it.
think you know what, like weird works. Weird totally works because people are like, did she just really do that or did she just really say that? Like, yeah, we did. But it sticks in people. It's like a post-it. People remember
Mm-hmm.
it. So,
So when it comes to stocking your store and choosing
okay.
what brands that you want to kind of be
Hmm.
there on the shelves, like how did you go through that process? Because there's so many, and I've been talking about this with manufacturers and the retailers this week. There's so many choices, you know, in this industry. You could go in so many different directions
This
if
is
you
like
wanted
such a
to.
scary question because I don't want to like upset anyone. Um, I guess there's I don't think there's one characteristic that determines why we put a product on the shelf. It's multiple layers. It's like an onion. There's a lot of different reasons why we have different products on the shelf. One of the things is we like to work with more privately owned companies,
Mm-hmm.
um, only because I feel like when you have a relationship with a privately owned company, you're no longer just a number that someone's trying to meet at the end of the day. And a lot of the larger conglomerate companies, I feel like all we are is a number.
Right.
Um, I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this. Um, so that's why we tend to gravitate more privately owned companies. Um, and then, of course, your relationship with the rep. There's some reps that we love to work with just because we've known them for, 10 years. Some reps we might rub shoulders the wrong way. Um, I think the most important factor though is a company support because support works both ways. It's not just me giving you support or you giving me support. It has to be mutually respectful. So as a retailer, I will do my job to push your product as much as I can. Like when we stand behind a product, we stand behind the product. And we do numbers because we enjoy the product because they're great. That's a great company to work with. So if we don't receive the same reciprocation, I think that's a really important factor. At the end of the day, the cigar industry, like any other industry, is about relationships.
Right.
So the product has to be great, the product has to deliver, and we just have to really get the company support as well.
So
Does
that
that make
like
sense?
yeah, and so that relationship is the key basically.
Yeah, to me, a
It's about the
relationship
key.
is more than anything because I'm gonna stand behind your product. It's not just another. I don't want another SKU that we're just gonna throw on the shelf. If that was the case, we would have 10,000 SKUs because there's so many cigar brands that are out there, and
Right.
it's more than that. It's you know our relationship with the reps, our relationship with the manufacturer, the product itself, the price point. Is it able to compete with other cigars that we have on our shelves? I mean, the last thing I want to do is get a really, really cheap cigar to take away from sales from other cigars. So I think there needs to be kind of like an even balance, I guess.
Hmm. And for your customers, I mean, what these days, I mean, as a store owner, and I'm sure you're always looking at inventory.
Mhm.
Do you see any trends? Do you see any, like, if your customers kind of gravitating towards,
You
you
know
know,
what?
like a certain size or whatever?
That's a unique question, but I think it's very area specific because I've seen trends that are very, very hot in Southern California that people on the East Coast do not even care about, and vice versa. So speaking for Southern California, we have a huge Drew Estate population. Like, everyone is Drew Estate nerds over here. Like, they get tattoos. They're like Drew Estate groupies. So Drew Estate is definitely a popular one. People love the really boutique-y brands. You got Tatuaje, Illusion. People, I don't know if it's because of like the crafty scene, but that's been a really popular trend. And as far as size goes, I'm not a fan of it, but it is probably one of our top sellers. It has to be the 6x60. Cigar customers, they just love bigger ring gauge cigars.
Wow.
It's not my personal preference, but we probably sell more 6x60s than any other size in the store. I mean,
and like you said, that might be region, specific, but that's a very like unique thing you just said, because
oh
I
yeah,
haven't
6x6,
heard that.
it's insane. Like, the 6x60 culture is a real thing here in Southern California.
Wow, that's kind of cool to know.
But yeah, definitely it's regional trends, because I think there's trends in Florida that we don't have here. So.
And when you get new cigars in, like, how do you promote those to your customers?
We place them in different places in the store. So as soon as you walk in the store, we have a table to the left, right by the cash register. We usually put all of our featured products right there. We also have an end cap as soon as you walk in. That's 45 degrees to the right. Someone, I think it was Nick Perdomo that told me this. I don't know if Janine is still watching, but the Perdomos, they do a tour every year to Nicaragua, and on the last day they do a retailer class, and they kind of teach you how to become a better retailer, how to better market products. And one of the things that always stuck with me that Nick said was 45 degrees to the right, eye level, that's like your money spot. So whenever we get new products, we always use that end cap, and customers just automatically gravitate towards it. Wow. So it kind of sells itself, yeah. And then also we make really nice displays. So I know Dave Garofalo from Two Guys, I kind of learned this from him. He does this a lot. Cigars, they don't necessarily stay in the box that it comes in. So we have big wine crates that we fill up with cigars. Sometimes we take the cellophane off of it because people, for some reason, they like naked cigars better without the cellophane. So we kind of dress up the display to make it more attractive, I guess.
Yeah, but those are all like cool tips I think anybody can use, because I've heard of the lighting of a cigar, or how you like the humidor is important. But you just said like the direction, like even a very specific direction is where people might look.
You first walk in 45 degrees to the right at arm level is it's like the sweet spot. People just gravitate towards there and they just grab it. And you know what? It really sells itself. Most products that I put there, I don't even need to say, hey, you guys want to try this new cigar that we got in? They'll just grab it. So.
Wow. So the price point isn't usually a big issue?
Our pricing structure is really unique for California. So the normal California formula is you take your cost, you add the tax, and you keystone, which is you double it. We don't keystone our products. We work around 20-30% margins rather than doubling it completely. So we make a lot less per stick, but we do a lot more volume. So our store is kind of considered more of a bargain store in Southern California. We get a lot of people that commute from LA or Orange County once a month just to load up on cigars because we're more price competitive. But most of the cigars, they have an even pricing structure in our store. So it doesn't really affect too much whether people buy it or not, I guess.
Okay. And you talked a few minutes about going on, the Perdomo trip, which I know is everybody's like coveted kind of a trip that they do every year. So how have these trips been for you? Like, I know Perdomo does one. I know all the manufacturers pretty much have some type of trip. So for you as a retailer, are these trips like super important? I mean, like, what do you get out of them?
They're all so different in their own ways. the Perdomo trip, I call it, well, they call it that too. They call it Perdomo University, and it is truly Perdomo University. Like, it's a 3-day crash course on tobacco, and I do not think there is a single tour that educates you as much as Nick Perdomo. Like, he is this guru professor, and he just like bombards you with so much information you didn't even know existed about tobacco. So it helps a retailer because you know more about the product. Because when a customer comes in and asks you, what should I smoke and why? When you go to the Perdomo factory tour, you learn so much about tobacco, you can give an educated response back. You have a reason why you're selling the product. You can stand behind the product. And then on the second trip that I took to Perdomo, I was able to take a few of our customers with us, which really helped because once the customer engages with a manufacturer on a personal level like that, I feel like they are customers for life. Those 3 or 4 customers that I brought, to this day, they still smoke Perdomo all day long. Like, it's in their daily lineup of cigars. So it really does create brand awareness. The Fuente trip, it's like a trip of its own, completely different. It focused more on the foundation and kind of the work that they do in the Dominican Republic. So that was really neat because I got to see a whole different side. And of course, the Fuente factory is absolutely gorgeous. It is like the museum. It's like a museum in Paris of cigars, right? The walls are just filled with art, and it's a really unique experience. But what I do want to go to is the Pro Cigar and Puro Sabor. I have never been to those, but maybe one day.
I've gone to Pro Cigar 2 years now. It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely like one of those. I like it because you get basically 2 tours. Depending on where you go, you could get 3, squeeze in 3 big, nice tours out of it. And then I know this year they did something different where on the last day it was more of like a field day, almost like a big smoke type of situation where you went and a lot of the members were there in this big tent, and you got to just interact with them, go up to them, say hello, talk to them. It was really fun. So that's always a fun event. It's like you learn during the day, and then at night it's some type of festive occasion. So your dinner parties and a white party one night and a gala dinner the other night where they're doing options.
They're all like dressed up and stuff too, right?
Right.
See, I want to go to that. That sounds like fun. I always see like you guys posting pictures from it. I think you had posted a bunch of pictures and you posted like your trip going there and your trip coming back, like the whole commute part. Like, I want to go on that. It sounds like fun.
You have to plan to go for 2021. It's a good, like I said, it's a good trip, and I mean, they take care of you. So it's a really fun trip. And like I said, for me, it's nice because you get 2 or 3 factory or field tours out of it.
Right.
So if you do go, just talk to me beforehand because there's certain ones that I would definitely.
I'll get the insider trading information with you. I'll get insider trading info. But yeah, I've been really fortunate. I got to go to 2, Perdomo twice, Fuente 3 times. I'm actually supposed to go to AJ Fernandez on Monday. Or Monday? What day is today? Wednesday?
Yeah.
Today's Wednesday. So I was supposed to go on Monday to AJ, but obviously that got canceled. I had a trip planned with my store, so I was going to bring like 12 people along with me. But that trip got canceled. But hopefully things, start to get better and go back to normal. But it's amazing when you go down there. It truly is. And I think it's a great experience for retailers because it just really educates a retailer about a product. And that's important for selling the product.
Yeah, I don't think people realize like just how important education is in this industry and like interacting with the brands in that way, like being in their territory, seeing how they make cigars, because each company handles it in a completely different way. So being there to me is that's when all the light bulbs usually go off for me, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is why they're considered, the best in this area, or this is why this cigar, so highly rated. So I definitely think both retailers and consumers, when they can, they should definitely, try to go on these trips, because it's just, you're going to walk away with so much information and so much appreciation for the industry.
But it also just gets people like so excited, I feel like when you go, I look forward to going down there every year because I know when I come back, it's like this fresh breath of air. And I just come back, especially the Nick one, the retailer class that he does. When I come back from it, I'm like, you know what? I want to be the best retailer ever. Like it just gives you inspiration or something like that. That sounds so dorky, but it's true.
What so for the Fuente thing, I mean, you're highly involved, I would say, in the Cigar Family Charitable Foundation. And I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if a lot of people know about it, and I've tried to do my part in doing stories about it to kind of bring light to it. But just kind
Mm-hmm.
of talk about like how you're using your platform and your store to kind of help, you know, support this great organization.
Okay, so for those of you guys who are watching who don't know, Cigar Family Charitable Foundation is a nonprofit that was created by the Fuente and Newman families. It's basically a school in the Dominican Republic. They provide education, they provide medical care, dental care. They even have like a technical institute now where the students can go to after they graduate. And I couple thousand students that are there. And it started off as an elementary school. And after the kids had finished elementary school, I remember Carlito telling me the story. The kids went up to them, to Carlito and Eric Newman and Bobby Newman, and said, hey, you know, we're done with school. We don't have a middle school to go to. So then Carlito and the Newmans and Carlos Sr., they decided, okay, well, we'll build a middle school for them. And then when the kids were done with middle school, they went back to Carlito and said, hey, we don't have a high school to go to. So then they went back and built a high school for them. So it's just really amazing to see how much they've done for these communities in the Dominican Republic. And it's something that I've always been really passionate about since an early age. I went to a small private school, and I remember going on mission trips in high school to like Kenya or Mexico. And it's just something that really I'm passionate about. So I think since I care about it so much, it's something I really stand behind. And I like to use a store because customers, they love to give, but there's just not a lot of opportunities for them to. So I think if more retailers set up different fundraisers at the store, these customers, they're willing to give and they're willing to help. So I'm really blessed to have this platform like the store that we do have to, you know, raise more awareness for Cigar Family. But Cigar Family, if anyone has a chance to look it up or go down there, it's truly amazing. I mean, it's in the middle, this little town in the middle of the Dominican Republic outside of Santiago. And there used to not even be, you know, running water. And now you go in and there's homes, there's streets. The children that graduate from the school, they go on to college. Some have become doctors and neurosurgeons. A lot of them, they come back to the school to teach. So it's just amazing to see how these two families, the Fuentes and Newmans, were able to completely change a community. And it's not just for today, but it's for like generations to come.
I mean, it's a really cool organization. Like you said, when you're there at the school and you see the kids and it's how
Mm-hmm.
engaged they are, and you hear the stories about, you know, things that we take for granted, you know, here in the United
Mm-hmm.
States probably, and just how you know, they just the Fuente family and the Newman family just coming together and giving these people this opportunity, and you know, built around
Mm-hmm.
education again, which is I think a lot of stuff in this industry comes back to.
Yeah.
You know, how education just kind of gives you more opportunity, gives you more power to do these things. You know, it's a great, like I said, it's a great organization that I'm surprised more people don't know
And
about.
it's and it's so cool because you always hear about, you know, fundraisers here, fundraisers there, or like this nonprofit and that nonprofit. But until you go see it in person, the facilities that these children have, like it makes me feel good after a fundraiser and then seeing it because that is where the money is going. Like you see it yourself firsthand. These children, they don't just know how to read and write Spanish. They're literate in English. They are literate in French. Some of them know 4 languages. I mean, I don't even know 4 languages. The majority of America doesn't even know 4 languages, you know? And you know, the school that they have, the computer lab that they have, it's so high tech. And these are children that would have just never been given the opportunity. They would have ended up as farmers or, you know, who knows what. So what they've been able to do is absolutely mind-boggling. And especially seeing the children come back after having gone through Cigar Family their entire year or their entire life, and coming back as teachers and teaching the new students that are there. So.
And like you said, it's not, and I think Eric Newman was the one who led our
Mm-hmm.
tour group at Pro Cigar when we got to go see it. But he talked about how they take care of the overhead so that all the money
Mm-hmm.
that's donated, it goes to the kids and it goes to
Right.
building up the school. So that's another important thing. It's not one of those organizations where like only a fraction of the money is actually going to the
No,
cause that it's
they
about.
pay for everything personally, and everything, like all the overhead with the teachers and whatnot, but all the building and construction that comes from the fundraising, but they absorb the majority of the costs. So,
I mean,
and
it's
you've been there, right?
right.
The facility is huge. Like, it looks nicer than elementary schools here in the U.S. It's ginormous.
No, I mean, like for people who haven't been there, I mean, it's cool to the point where, and they'll tell you like if you take this tour, like the kids sometimes don't even want to leave the school because I mean
Mm-hmm.
it's so nice for
Yeah.
them, you know, and they love the playground area, they love like the computer lab, you know, that you'll walk through the school. I mean, there's a group
Right.
of kids sitting there learning how to play instruments. You know, they have
Mm-hmm.
dance, they have art. It's so,
Oh, they
like I
have
said,
so many extracurricular activities. Like, whatever we have here in the US, they have plus more. Like, it's absolutely incredible. And I've gotten to go 3 times in a row now, so 3 consecutive years. So it's been so cool to
mhm.
see the kids that were in the kindergarten room, right? Now they're in what, second grade? And I recognize a few of them. Of course, they've grown like a foot each, but it's cool to go in consecutive years because you see them growing throughout the school. Hey, Taylor. My friend is on there.
So I mean, getting back to your story and as a retailer, I mean, what do you attribute your success to? If somebody has to say, like, why are you successful? What would you say?
Oh, I think I still have, far from successful. I have so much more to learn, but I think it's I try and be a sponge. I know that's a weird analogy, but every opportunity and every conversation that I have with other retailers and other manufacturers and other distributors, or whoever else, or even consumers, um, I try to learn something from them and see what I can do better at our store, because I don't think growing ever stops. The I think that one of the biggest struggles as a brick and mortar retail store owner is becoming complacent, because it's so easy, to come into the cigar store every single day, smoke a cigar, and just sit there and hang out. So just not settling and just always trying to grow and do something different. Like, if we're done with this, then let's have another goal tomorrow and change things up. Um, but I think the success of our store has really just been learning from other retailers and learning from other people who have been successful. I know some people have asked me in the past, like, oh, who do you look up to, right? Dave Garofalo from Two Guys and Jeff Borshowitz from Corona Cigars. I am like their fangirl. Like, when I grow up, I want to be like them. They're cool, successful, and brilliant retailers. So I guess, try and learn from them as much as I can.
And you bought Dave Garofalo's book, obviously.
Oh, totally. As soon as it came out, I just need him to sign it. Like, I'm a total Dave Garofalo fangirl. I think he probably thinks it's creepy too, because I tell him that all the time. Whenever I see him, I'm like, Dave, like, I'm your biggest fan. Because there's just
Yeah,
so
I
much to
bought the
learn from
book, and
him.
I mean, it's just so cool to like I said, for you, you say you learn from like other retailers. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
do you have lots of opportunities to actually learn from other retailers?
Pretty social person. Shows. I always, ask what is it that they're doing. I always, when I travel, or even if I'm in a new town, just driving through, I like to check out different cigar shops just to see what they're doing that maybe I'm not doing that I could do better. So even though I'm stuck here a lot, I try and learn from them. And I think one thing that we do here is we're not afraid if we don't succeed and if we fail. Um, if we try something and it doesn't work, it's okay. We just try something else, you know? So I think
Right.
you really can't be scared to try different things. Um, we try, like, you know, to do a lot of different promotions and games online. Some of them catch and some of them don't. And if they don't, it's okay. Come up with another one. But it's all trial and error, I think. But I'm really lucky because I have a lot of supportive people next to me. Our customers are really supportive. Manufacturers are really supportive. I feel like I'm everyone's like little Chinese sister. So whenever I have a question, I'm not afraid to ask. I'm always asking for advice. So
Because I asked that question because for our industry, sometimes it's like, who do you want to get your information from? Do you want to get it from
mhm,
just somebody in retail, or do you want to be very specific and have somebody, like you said, like a Jeff Bersiewicz or a Dave
mhm.
Garofalo, who have been to where you are and they're doing tobacco retail? Because I feel like it's such a unique category. So I'm always like curious, like, do you want to get information from other tobacco retailers, or do you just want to get information from a retailer, period, like to how to do things better?
I
Or which
think
do you
there's,
think is better?
you know, there's definitely the key retailers that I admire, which of course is Dave and Jeff. But other than that, you can learn from everyone. Like every time we go into a retail store, myself and my partner, um, we see how they're doing things good or not good or better or worse, and we talk about like how we can bring that into our store. So I think it doesn't matter how big or how small the retailer is, there's something to learn from everyone, you know. And in manufacturers too, there's so much stuff you can learn from manufacturers that are selling points that I didn't even know. So does that make sense?
For you, I mean, like you said, you're looking at opening up your second location. I mean,
Hmm.
what's your long-term like vision for Lord Puffer, like the whole brand and the retail operation? Where do you want to go with this?
um oh, sorry, my dog. Lord Puffer will always be here. My partner Nathan, he kind of has a reputation in the cigar industry for buying stores, flipping them, and then selling them, or taking a hole in the wall piece of crap building, making it beautiful, and then selling it to someone else. But this store, Lord Puffer, is really like our personal store. I don't think we'll ever sell it. We just brought on JJ. His, on Instagram, he's Cigar JJ, but he's been working with retail stores for quite a while. He's based out in Vegas and he's moving out to Southern California to be here with us. So he'll run our store here in California while I go to Florida and we open up the Florida store. So I think it'll be nice to have a location on both coasts, just
Hmm.
because, like, kind of like how you said earlier, it is getting more tough to operate in California. So having a store in Florida, especially, I love Florida as well, so I could see myself living there. It'll be a nice breath of fresh air. And you know, Southern California is just so saturated with cigar lounges as it is. So eventually we're going to get bored and we're going to have to, you know, open up something else. So I think that's why we're turning to Florida. But I'm
I
super
think
excited
Florida.
about the Florida store.
I was about to say, I think Florida will be a good move because I mean most of the manufacturers are down there anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully you could get more of them to like stop into the store and talk to you, and um, I mean I think it's just going to be a very interesting shift for you to see
And
that difference. And like I said,
mhm, the culture in Florida for cigars is huge compared to California. So, I mean,
oh,
I'm so
definitely.
passionate about cigars. It's not just a job for me. It's something that I enjoy as a hobby personally. So, it would be any, you know, cigar lover's dream to go to Tampa out of all places, you know, especially
And
being a Fuente fan.
I know, I was like, you'd be right there in their backyard. That and the fact that JC Newman's, they're redoing their factory to make it like a
Yeah.
real an attraction. So
Mhm.
to be there in that area is going to be like awesome. I mean, you're going to have, once this coronavirus thing settles down a little bit, you'll hopefully have a lot of traction just down there in that area, which would be awesome.
Yeah, so we started construction already, but we had to stop because of this whole Corona thing.
Right.
So I just can't wait for this whole thing to pass through so we can go back to normal and go build the store. So I'm
Well,
anxious.
I I think we're all anxious at this point to get back to
Mm-hmm.
some type of normalcy, and just to know when things can let up a little bit, to just,
Right.
like I said, get back just to life as usual, um, what can manufacturers and even consumers do for you as a retailer right now to help you? I know, because I know the coronavirus, like you said, it kind of affects your foot traffic in the store. It kind of, it's a hard situation for
Mm-hmm.
a small business to kind of maneuver right now, especially when you're in your position where it's like you're a part owner of this
Mm-hmm.
store. So you're in a completely different position. You're not just, an employee. This is like your
Right.
baby. So what
Yeah.
can we all do to help you during this time?
I think as far as consumers go, just so consumers, if you guys are watching, support your brick and mortar. Like I know it's cheaper to buy online. I know there's big, discount websites. I get it. But just give us brick and mortars like a little bit of the love. That's all we want. Like you don't have to give us all your love. Like I get it. You save a lot of money going to these big online websites. I get it. Just save us a little bit of love, right? So that really means a lot, and not just for us, but any other brick and mortar across the entire country. If you guys can do your part, grab a few sticks here and there. It really does help. And I know most brick and mortars across the United States right now, even with this whole Corona thing, they're offering to ship cigars, deliver cigars, do curbside delivery. So just check on your local brick and mortars because right now, more than ever, they need you. As far as manufacturers go, it's really hard because I know a lot of stores and even ourselves, we've cut back on ordering just because we
Right.
don't know how long this thing's going to go for. We don't know, how long people can come in and purchase things. You just don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty. So I guess from a manufacturing side point, I know a few manufacturers have already reached out to us. They've given us a lot of like different types of swag, and they've given us a lot of back end deals to help us promote their products online, which helps because it incentivizes for the consumer. If they throw in a free cigar or something like that, or a lighter or a hat or anything like that. Like swag helps. Swag helps a lot. So.
Well, I think that's nice to hear because you don't always hear that. I think sometimes they're in a position where they're like, I don't know how to help.
Mhm.
Is it a deal or is it? But if it's something simple, swag. I mean, I'm sure a
Swag. I mean,
lot
it
of
doesn't have to be. I know a lot of people think it's just deals, like, oh, I want this much off of my order. It's not just that. If you throw in some swag, that'll help me because I'll use that swag to push your item. Buy 5 cigars, get a free lighter. Buy 5 cigars, get a free hat or whatnot. Um, just anything at this point really helps.
Well, that's
So.
awesome. Well, we're nearing the end of our time. We have a few minutes left, but I want you to kind of tell us how we can follow you after this conversation, how people can, where they can find your store, how they can get in touch with you in the store to place an order or just to say hello.
So my name is Angela. I'm from Lord Puffer. You can find us on Instagram at Lord Puffer Cigars or my personal Instagram at Angela_Yue. We're also on Facebook under Lord Puffer Cigars. If you go on our website, we have an like I don't even know what it's called. It's like a little bubble that pops up and you can type questions. It goes directly to my cell phone. And I'll get back to you as soon as the text comes in, or you can email us lordpuffershop@gmail.com. So we're pretty good about responding back if you guys text us at any time. So
Well, I mean, it's been awesome to catch up with you. Like I said, when I was putting together this week, I wanted to
mhm.
put together like a powerhouse of retailers. And you obviously, I was like, oh, I have to try to get Angela on here. I was like,
Thank you
Angela is
so much.
like the like everybody's like, I think you said you look to certain people in the industry, but I
Oh,
think a lot of people are looking at you for guidance too, because
oh,
you just
thank
are
you.
doing things in such a cool, fresh, youthful way that I think a lot of people you're quickly becoming, like I said, one of the go-to tobacconists in this whole industry. So
Thank you. I
so
appreciate it.
I appreciate you for, like I said, sharing your story with us today, because you had a lot of good ideas and got a good insight that I think a lot of people will be able to use for their store, or even if they're a manufacturer,
Mhm.
to give them an idea of how to, like I said, how to help, because we all want to help, but we just don't know exactly
what
to do
to do,
sometimes.
right?
So, like I said, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking the time to speak to me and to share your story with all of us today. And I look forward to our next encounter, whenever that is. Hopefully, it's PCA, and if not, it'll
Yeah.
be at some point this year. Hopefully.
Hopefully, knock on wood. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much for having us on, and thank you for, having me and featuring our store, and for everything you do at Tobacco Business as well. And, for keeping our sanity, giving us something to watch on Instagram. I know
I
if
try.
I know if I'm like stuck at the store and I'm like, crap, what am I going to do? I go online. Antoine has a show with someone. So
Well,
thank you for keeping us entertained during this quarantine time.
well, I'm doing my best, and there'll be a
Because
lot
I'm
more
running out
stuff.
of Netflix shows to watch. So now I just watch Antoine.
Oh, great. Well, like I said, I'll be in touch, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank
Be
you.
safe.
You
Wash
too.
your hands.
Exactly.
All right. Take care,
Bye.
Antoine. Bye.
Bye.